Hello.
So today we're actually at a cafe here in my neighborhood. So I thought it would be an interesting idea to talk about cafes here in Korea, as well as some of you may know she's lived in Japan for some time.
Yeah.
So she knows a lot about cafes in Japan, and we both lived in America, so we can talk about cafes in America as well. So first of all, this is a German cafe in Korea.
It's very good too.
How is it?
It's very good.
What did you order?
I ordered the vanilla latte.
Vanilla latte can be, for me, hit or miss, meaning it can be good or bad, depending on the location. Sometimes they put a little bit too much sweetener or too much sugar or something, and other times it's like the most perfect drink. So on a scale of disaster to perfect, how is this one?
I would say this is pretty not quite normal. That's kind of low, but not perfect.
Not perfect.
Yeah.
Like an 8 out of 10 or a 7 out of 10?
Like a 7. I would give it a 7.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And as for me, this time at least I got just an iced Americano, and probably similar. This is a 7.
Right.
It's definitely not bad or too watery, but it doesn't have my favorite like chocolate flavors. You know.
Is it sour?
It's not that sour. Would you like to try some of it?
No, I'm okay.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't go well with your vanilla latte.
Probably not.
Yeah, we also got a scone, but to prevent some of you who maybe don't like to hear people chewing on camera, we'll wait a little bit before we bite into that. So anyway, cafes.
Yes.
Since you've been in Korea, we've been going to a lot of cafes actually. Does any of them stand out in your mind as being like, oh, that one was really nice?
Ooh.
I'm thinking about it too. Like, we went to one yesterday that was it was a cafe. It also was a restaurant and a bakery. It was kind of interesting. And we had some apple apple crumble there.
Right.
The apple crumble wasn't bad, but I feel like they maybe made it really early in the morning.
Right.
So it was a little bit soggy. Soggy being like it has water in it. It's not crunchy or chewy.
I think that cafe too, they didn't ask to reheat it.
Right.
Which is something they usually do, is ask, like, do you want me to reheat this for you?
Right. Yeah, that's something I really appreciate, is whenever they reheat stuff. Oh, I know which one stands out to me.
Which one?
We went to a store, the K-pop store. What was the K-pop store called? MyStar.
MyStar?
And nearby MyStar.
Makestar.
Makestar, that's it, Makestar. We went to a cafe called something Alien Cafe.
Oh yeah, that one was really nice.
It was a very small cafe down the street, and they had, what was it, like, there was just one woman working there, and she had baked all this stuff, and everything was really interesting.
It was really good.
And really big size, and you could tell it was fresh.
Right.
What did we order?
We had the salt bread and like a bread with, oh gosh, what is it? In Japanese we say mochi.
Yeah, it's tteok. Yeah.
Tteok.
Or rice.
So like rice cake.
Yeah.
Rice cake, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, rice cake bread. It was kind of bread. It was like rice cake flattened. With some kind of bread on the outside or something.
It was interesting, but the texture was really nice.
It's like chewy, but not too chewy.
Right.
I agree. And then I think I got the black squid ink, like cheese bread.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like all black. I don't know. I like to order strange things sometimes. It's very fun.
It was good though, and she asked if she could reheat everything, in the oven.
Yeah, she warned us, it'll be about 5 minutes, but I'll reheat it for you. And I was like, oh, that's so kind. Thank you so much.
Right.
But that place was we got too much bread.
Too much.
Our
Way
eyes
too much.
were bigger than our stomachs.
Yes.
It means we think, we can definitely eat all of this, and then we bought it. It was too much. We ate it all, but afterwards we kind of had a sugar crash or a food coma, meaning we ate too much and kind of almost fell asleep.
Just done. I don't think I wanted bread for a while after that.
Yeah, I think even when we went to get the apple crumble,
yes,
we only got it because we were tired.
Right.
Because we had walked a lot.
Right.
We were kind of like, we had too much bread.
Yeah, no more bread, please.
Like really, the plate was like this big, and we had the bread all over it. It was too much.
Too much.
That being said, that one stands out to me of the cafes we went to, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. That one was really good because it was very small,
Yeah.
but I didn't feel like I was in the way or
Yeah, right.
like you could kind of relax a little
Yeah.
bit, and it wasn't so big that it was overwhelming either.
That's
so
true.
it was really nice and cozy. I felt like I was in someone's house.
Yeah, it
Like a
really,
friend's
it actually
house.
did feel like a house, kind of. Like it felt like they had taken a home in the living room and just changed it into a cafe.
Right.
But when people started coming and there was like multiple groups, it still didn't feel too crowded, right?
Yeah, there was it had like the perfect amount of space for where it was.
Yeah,
It was also not in a very busy neighborhood.
that's true. It was down a back alley, kind of a hidden gem.
Right.
A special place that you can only find if you look for it. And it felt very local too. Remember she was talking to some of the customers like they were neighborhood friends or something.
Right.
Yeah, it was very nice.
It was nice. I like those kinds of places, I think.
Me too. Big cafes can be really useful for studying or for just meeting a big group of friends, but sometimes you just need a small cozy place.
Right.
So I'm curious, how does that compare to cafes in Japan? Because as you see, this cafe is quite big,
Yes.
and the one yesterday was even bigger.
Right.
Now, all of them are not huge, of course. We also have the small ones, but there's a huge variety. How would you compare that to cafes in general in Japan?
I think in Japan, a lot of cafes are either, if it's just a cafe, it's very small. Especially, I guess, with the ones we call mom and pop stores where they're not a chain, but it's just a single cafe. Maybe they have one or two stores,
Yeah.
but those places are very small. Maybe sometimes they only have a counter where the barista is and you can sit at the counter, maybe 3 or 4 seats and maybe one table in the corner, and then that's it. And it's very small. Those places sometimes have a line out the door.
Wow, they must be good.
So it's either it's really good, or because of social media, it's on social media. Sometimes people will show up and just wait. And like one thing about Japan that I've noticed compared to here is people like to wait in line.
Yeah.
So people will line up without knowing what the line is for, simply
Yeah.
because there are people there. Where I feel like in Korea, people are like, no, I don't want to wait.
I think that's similar in some ways, yeah. Because sometimes we'll walk by somewhere and I'll be with Korean friends and they'll say, "Oh, what is that place? It looks delicious." And I'll say, "It's just because there's a line outside, right?"
Right. Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, maybe."
Right? But then we do have like bigger, I guess the bigger cafes would be the chains. Like we have Starbucks.
Yeah.
So obviously those are going to be in places that are a little bit bigger. I think a lot of our Starbucks are either in a station
Yeah.
or in a shopping mall of some kind.
Yeah.
So maybe the space is bigger. But I don't feel there's as much seating compared to Korea. Every cafe we've been in Korea, except for the small one, the Alien one, is just so big.
Yeah, right. I feel like there is those when we were walking here, there was that cafe that has just like 2 outside chairs we
Right.
saw. I feel like that's probably Japanese style. Like,
Probably.
it's really close to like they maybe have 1 seat
Right,
inside,
right.
but we also have ginormous 3-story cafes. Like
Yeah.
the one yesterday. Oh, that's another good one.
Oh, that
we
was a
went
good
to.
one.
I cannot remember the name, but it had tigers everywhere. Anyway, there was like 2 floors at least. I think there was a 3rd floor
I think
too.
so.
And it was really pretty inside.
It was.
The coffee was not bad.
It was okay.
It
Yeah.
wasn't. It was definitely not. This is better, in my opinion, than the coffee from
agree.
yesterday.
I agree.
But the aesthetic, like the look of it, was really nice. And we'll take a quick break, and then we're going to come back with some more about cafes in Japan. All right. We just talked about how Japan's cafes tend to be quite small,
Right.
and the size in Korea is very different, right? I feel like there's a bunch of chains and in Korea that everybody knows and everybody goes to. We have
Right.
things like, correct me if I'm wrong, please, in the comments. Tusum Place is a Korean brand. Angel in Us is another big one. Of course, we have Starbucks, which is an American brand.
Right.
Ronfeld, I believe, is German. At least they have a kind of German theming inside, and those are also around. But they're not as prevalent, meaning they're not as numerous. They don't have a high number. They're usually in Seoul, from what I've seen.
Right.
What are some other Korean brand coffee shops?
Is it Coffee Bean?
Coffee
is that
Bean,
one?
right.
Yeah.
Coffee Bean, I don't go there
is it
because...
Bean or Bene?
Good question.
Sorry. I think it's Coffee Bean.
Maybe it's Coffee Bean, because when I go there, their coffee's really sour, and I like dark roast, like dark chocolate flavor, so the sour one for me, it's not disgusting, I love it, but I don't like it as much as this.
Oh, okay.
So I prefer not to go there. Plus their ice is like, this is a little American thing. We have a store called Sonic.
Oh.
And the Sonic ice in America is...
Do they have Sonic ice?
They have Sonic ice.
Oh, no.
So the ice is really similar to Sonic ice.
Right.
Some people love Sonic ice.
Yes.
I like Sonic ice, but with the sour coffee, not for me.
Maybe no.
I would rather have Sonic ice with like a lemonade or something.
Right.
That would be really tasty.
The reason people like Sonic ice, by the way, is because they can chew on it.
Yeah, right.
Like, not chew is not the right word. It's small.
Yeah.
Like, really small.
Really
and there's a Japanese candy that has the same shape now that I think about it. Yeah, it's like a traditional candy that's a small ball, like really small sugar ball with spikes on it.
Ooh.
That sounds weird,
Well,
but they're like
called?
little bumps all over it. I can't remember.
Is it like
but
this?
it's a traditional, like small, colorful candy. It's just sugar. It's
Wait.
kind of crunchy, but it has the same texture as that ice. And I think that's why people like the ice. I just can't remember the name of the candy. It's like something ame.
Saw something like this on Instagram, like where they like you have to let it sit for a week for it to like harden or
Maybe.
something. I don't know.
It's like
actually.
a ball.
Oh, never mind. This was a sheet.
It's the same. Oh no, it's the same shape as Sonic Ice and that same texture. So I think people like to chew on the ice.
It's a texture thing.
Like crunchy. But I'm like, does anyone else here chew on ice? I feel like that's very taboo because it hurts your teeth.
Yeah, I don't really see people. Occasionally, they'll like when their coffee's done. Some people will grab a piece of ice out of it, but I don't see it very often.
Like biting on the ice.
Yeah.
Because people with Sonic Ice, you hear them crunching the ice.
Some people go to Sonic just to get
The ice.
the biggest cup they can of just ice.
With no drink in it. They
drink.
just want the ice.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy they're happy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure their dentist is happy too.
Yeah. They probably go to the dentist very often.
Right?
Yeah, true.
Anyway.
Yeah, but
chains
in Korea, like, those are the ones I think of right away. Is those ones? Are there chains? Like, what's the big chain of coffee shops in Japan?
Well, we also have Starbucks, and I feel like a lot of people go there. But personally, I don't like Starbucks coffee. I feel like it's burnt.
Yeah.
It tastes burnt, and it's really expensive.
For me, it's a little too watery and too expensive for like what I want.
Right.
And maybe this is just a me thing. My ice always melts before I get even halfway through.
Yeah.
Is it just me? Okay, it's not just me.
It does.
Yeah.
And so your drink is super watery.
Yeah. I'll get back to my office, and it's cool in my office.
Right.
And I'll go to drink, and I'm like, they didn't put that much ice in there, but earlier there was more. And then I get halfway, and I drink coffee fast. And it's already gone. There's no ice at all. And something feels really strange about drinking cold coffee with no ice. You know what I mean? It feels like it's like you're drinking cold hot coffee.
Oh, like room temperature hot coffee that just sat out all day?
Yeah,
right.
It feels strange.
It does. What other chains? So, Japan has a pretty big coffee culture. Oh, we have Blue Bottle.
Oh, yeah. That's
Blue
right.
Bottles.
Blue Bottles from Japan, right?
I don't know.
Oh, I knew it wasn't from Korea, but I didn't know it was.
I don't know that it's from Japan, but we do have it in Japan.
Okay. It's pretty fancy is the right word for this. It's kind of, to me, it feels fancy.
It's like a higher price point, I guess.
It is higher
for
price.
sure.
And it does taste pretty good.
It does taste nice.
During the almost at apple blossom, cherry blossom time, they had a special latte that was just cherry blossom latte, and it had just a tiny bit of like a kind of raspberry cherry blossomy smelling thing.
Interesting.
So the smell was slightly cherry blossom, and the flavor was like raspberry, which was a little bit strange, but
But I like that.
It was better than I expected.
Japan likes to pair cherry blossoms with cherry flavor.
Yeah, see, and that's what I
Cherry.
expected too. When I ordered it, I didn't read what it was, just, bokol, and I drank it and was like, that's raspberry.
Right. Yeah. That would be good, though. I feel like raspberry is really rare.
Raspberry is surprisingly good with latte.
Yeah.
Like, I never had it before. Yeah, it's good, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some other chains. We have, let's see. The chains, when I think about them, are not just famous for coffee, though. For example, we have Hoshinoya or Komeda. It's like Komeda's coffee.
Yeah.
But they're kind of more famous for the toast. And the coffee is kind of like, I guess the young kids say mid. Like, it's kind of mid. It's like, it's not very good.
Yeah.
It's just so, like, it's something that you would kind of make at home yourself, but they charge a lot. The drinks are really expensive there because they kind of lose money on the price of the food.
I see.
So they try to make up with it with the drink.
I see.
Which is really bizarre to me, or like weird, kind of odd, but the coffee's not great.
I see.
Yeah. One of the other kind of chains that I really do like, if you ever go to Tokyo, if you go to Japan, please go to Sarutahico.
Why?
It's just so good. And their menu changes up. They do very interesting kinds of coffee. They keep their mains, but their in-house coffee is very good. You can buy the drip bags.
Oh.
Yes. Their coffee's so good. I go there and hang out a lot. And they have one of the bigger cafes sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have a very small one in a station, but there's a really good one in Harajuku inside the station, but it's quite big.
Yeah.
They have good food too if you're looking for something small, but their coffee is really good. And they'll do like a signature brew.
Yeah.
And they did like an aged whiskey coffee kind of vibe. It was really nice.
And it's like, is it non-alcoholic?
No, it's no alcohol, but it's aged the same way that they do whiskey.
That's interesting.
It was like for people that like a dark coffee, it was really good.
What's the name of it again?
Sarutahico.
Sarutahico. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's my recommendation for coffee.
Tip, when you go to Tokyo, you need to go to say it again.
Sarutahico.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, they're really good. But
that kind of reminds me, like, I don't know where Arabica came from, like the company, but that cafe is also really good.
Oh, really?
They have one in Coex, and they have some in different locations.
The one in the library.
Right. The Starfield
So
Library.
good. They have the percentage sign.
Yeah, right. And that's not to be confused. There's another cafe that has a very... Korean people know there's another one that looks like Arabica, but there's a little bit different in the percentage sign.
Oh.
And it's called like 10% coffee, something I can't remember. And it when I see the sign, I'm like, oh, Arabic. Oh, never mind. That's the other one.
10% coffee? Is the other 90% just water?
Oh, maybe that's not good.
Oh.
But yeah, but when it comes to different brands of coffee shop, there's an interesting point about America.
Oh,
because
yes.
we haven't been to America in a long time, so we cannot speak to anything prior to, like, if it wasn't in the 90s, we don't know, basically.
Basically, yeah.
So when we come back in just a second, we're going to talk about how coffee was introduced to our area, because it has not always been as popular as you think.
No.
Yeah, so we just talked about our coffee experiences in Japan and in Korea.
Right.
I think a lot of people, maybe I'm wrong, so please let me know, think that Americans always drink coffee and have for a long time. I think that that's true. However, where we get the coffee has changed a lot.
Right.
We were just talking about before this how, like in my hometown, for example, we had no, let's take a step back. The idea of a cafe, a place where you only buy coffee, was weird.
Yeah, it was.
Right? Your hometown too, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah, it was very strange. It felt like, I guess I have a little bit of perspective of my hometown was also a military area.
Yeah.
So we had like the military base.
Yeah.
And so we had people from all over the world coming through.
Yeah.
So for them to talk about cafes felt to me like, oh, that's for rich people.
Or it's like a foreigner thing. Not foreigner's not the right word, but like another country thing.
Right.
Yeah, rich
like
people.
Kind of European, I guess.
Yeah.
But
me
it was
too.
also in my hometown. If people talked about a cafe, it's like, oh, they must be like the rich
Right.
people in some big hotel
Us too.
or something, or
Yeah. When we had coffee,
or
it
old
was like,
people.
yeah, people that talked about coffee was always old people. It felt like
Right.
young people didn't drink coffee. That was like our
No.
grandparents, or if you worked in like a really high labor job, like a
Or
mining company or something,
medical.
or medical, yeah,
Jobs.
like you're a nurse. Those people drink coffee because they needed it.
Right.
It wasn't like a enjoyable thing. It felt like
No. It very much felt coffee was the human equivalent, like equal
yeah.
to a car's gasoline.
Right, it was gasoline for adults.
Right.
In fact, there was a cartoon when we were kids. Do you remember Dexter's Laboratory?
Yes.
In that an episode, the mom and dad, they would wake up and be very tired, and then they would go make coffee and drink it.
Oh,
And it,
yeah.
like, instantly made them like
Awake.
full of energy, and they could go do work. Right.
Right.
And the kids were like, "What is this magical thing?" Because they didn't. There wasn't a young people drinking coffee culture, so they drink it and they went wild.
Right.
And that was kind of us. We thought that's what our grandparents drink. And I remember trying my grandfather's coffee and thought it was disgusting because it was like so not in my flavor profile. Like
I see.
It didn't match. Like 이미 안 맞았어요. Like it didn't match my mouth. How do you say that in English? It didn't taste good to me as a kid.
It wasn't my taste.
Yeah, it wasn't to my
maybe?
taste. Even when I got older, when we actually got our first cafe, ooh, fancy, in my hometown, I tried to drink coffee from there, and it wasn't for me.
What was your first, like, cafe, or what was your first experience with coffee outside of your own house?
Outside of my own house was probably McDonald's.
Right?
McDonald's was kind of, to me, McDonald's was where you get Happy Meals, breakfast, and coffee. That was the three things that people bought from McDonald's.
Yes.
Yeah, of course they had hamburgers.
Yes.
But in my mind, it was like Egg McMuffin, coffee. This was the adults.
Yes.
And then we got Happy Meals.
Right.
Like a children's meal.
Were your parents coffee drinkers?
No.
Mine neither.
Mine were not coffee drinkers.
No.
I think my mom started drinking coffee as I got older, like much older.
Okay.
Like my little brother, maybe he started drinking coffee, and then my mom started drinking coffee too.
I see.
But my grandfather, he was absolutely every single day, multiple times a day, drank coffee.
Coffee.
Yeah.
Right.
Always
Yeah.
out of that. You probably had this too. The small brown, like grandpa cup.
Yes. Yes.
All from the
Why
same
was
company.
it brown?
Every grandpa had like the same small brown coffee cup.
Ceramic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's so true.
If we looked up a picture of it right now, we'd probably go, "That's my grandfather's
grandpa
coffee
cup." It was small.
Very like really small. Like it was almost like you see a Italian espresso shot. It was like a double size or a triple size of that.
Yeah.
Like in this kind of cup, it would be like down to here maybe.
Right?
Like it was really small.
And then they would drink it, and at the bottom was all the leftover like sludge.
Yeah, because
like,
their coffee filters weren't that good.
or they used too much.
Yeah, that too. My grandpa used a lot of coffee grounds, so it got pretty strong.
What about instant coffee?
That's okay. See, I had heard of instant coffee when I was in America, but it never really like came into my life.
Right.
When I came to Korea,
Yes.
I was working at some company, and that someone handed me coffee already made, and I didn't like coffee at the time, but I drank it and went, "Oh my god, this is really good."
It was Maxim,
It was
wasn't
Maxim,
it?
yes.
And it was the yellow, the
Yes,
gold.
the
Okay.
Maxim gold, and I
Right.
was so like like, where was this my whole life?
Right.
It means, like, I wish I had this when I was younger. I immediately went to the store and bought a whole box of it
Right,
and drink it at home every day. Yeah, that was my first experience with stick coffee or instant coffee.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
With instant coffee?
Instant coffee, yeah.
I think it was at a hotel.
Oh, really?
I think so.
In America?
In America.
Ooh.
I feel like they leave instant coffee in the room.
Oh, see, I was so out of the coffee like culture, I never even looked.
Right. And it like I didn't go to many hotels in America because
Right, yeah.
I didn't get to travel
Yeah,
very
same.
often, and when we did, it was staying at someone's house,
Exactly.
like family's house.
That's something we can talk about in the future.
Right.
We didn't go on trips
No.
to locations and hotels.
No.
We went to someone we knew's grandpa's cousin.
Right,
Stayed
and
at
it was
their
very
house.
much we piled in the car to get
Yeah,
there. But
sometimes
anyway,
in the back of the truck. Anyway, that's another story.
I feel like my first experience was probably at a hotel or when I worked on the military base
Oh yeah, because
the offices have them
we can talk about. We're both military brats, so like
in a way. Yeah,
Yeah.
in a way.
yeah, we can
But-
talk about that in the future.
However, like my first experience with actual coffee
Yeah.
was probably similar to yours, where my grandmother drank coffee every day.
Yeah,
And I think I probably drank it with her because my parents hated coffee.
Yeah.
They don't like it.
yeah.
But then I just knew that all of the older people went to McDonald's
Yeah,
for coffee, like every
genuinely.
day.
Yeah. And I was listening to a Korean podcast recently, this reminds
Mm-hmm.
me. And they were talking about getting coffee at a convenience store.
Yes.
And they did a what is it called? A taste test here in Korea.
Oh.
A blind taste test. With
Interesting.
a bunch of different brands. I think it was only like 1,000 people.
Okay.
I'm not sure. But the coffee at the convenience store won the flavor test over actual coffee chains.
Was it black coffee
Yeah,
or
it was all
flavored?
black coffee. So what they did is when you go to 7-Eleven, probably in Japan too, they have like you can say I want an ice cup or you can
Yes.
get an ice cup.
Yes.
Go to the little machine.
Yes.
Press the button, coffee comes out.
Yes.
That coffee won over like this kind of cafe's hot coffee.
I can see that.
Me too, because I actually got one at my 7-Eleven right before I moved from my last city I lived in, and that coffee was really good.
7-Eleven has really nice
It's
coffee.
really good.
I think Japan is the same. I think everybody that really likes coffee, not just because they think they need it to wake up, will
Yeah.
go to 7-Eleven.
It's really good. It's better than I expected by a lot. That being said, I still go to cafes. I think there's something.
Yeah.
When you go to a cafe, there's a vibe,
Yes.
and if you get coffee from a 7-Eleven, it's because you're gonna walk somewhere, or you're gonna go sit outside, or you're
go
gonna
to
go
work.
home, or go to work.
Go to work.
So in those situations, yeah, that's perfect.
That's true.
But if you want to like sit and relax and talk with friends, sitting at a convenience store is maybe not, unless you're in middle school.
Do you have seating in Korea at convenience stores?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought so.
Is there not some in Japan?
Japan does have them, but I feel like after the big disaster, COVID,
Yeah.
I feel like some places got rid of the seating
I
areas.
see.
So,
Actually, in my local CU, the one by my house, if you go there at night-ish, you'll sometimes have a ton of middle schoolers there, and some of them will be sitting in the back, and they'll all have their ramen cups in the floor. And they'll
oh,
be sitting in the floor talking
I mean-
together and doing homework in the floor of the CU because all the seating is taken.
yeah.
And I mean,
You have student money, you do student things.
that's true. And I actually kind of like it because in America, that kind of like going to a convenience store and sitting in the floor and drinking coffee
No,
is kind of scary.
no.
Like it feels kind of like a community because they're allowed to sit in the floor, and I mean
Right.
it's kind of disruptive.
But you also have to say it's clean.
It is clean. too.
America's not.
It's hit or miss.
It's very
like
hit or
we said
miss.
Before, sometimes it's good. A lot of times, it's really bad.
It's really bad.
We'll talk about more in just a second. Okay, as for our last part here, I'd like to talk about. We started to talk about it about going to McDonald's and stuff for coffee, but when we were young, the idea in America of a cafe was a diner.
Right.
like I'm sure you guys have heard of Waffle House.
Yes.
Or
Denny's.
Denny's, things like this. These were American diners. You went there to eat breakfast,
Yes.
lunch. If you're working, you go eat lunch there.
Right.
And you get coffee. And like there used to be slogans like "There's always a pot on."
Oh yeah.
I don't know which brand that was, but I remember the slogan, and it meant like there's always coffee ready, so you just come in anytime.
Right.
And even McDonald's started that way.
True. I feel like a lot of our dining culture, at least where we're from,
Yeah.
is because of truck drivers.
Yes. And driving in general.
Right. Oh, yeah, true.
Because you could find diners along the side of the road a lot. And people would pull in, eat, and then leave and go because they were traveling
Right.
a lot.
It's just easy to get in and out.
Right. In Korea, it would be like the rest stops that you stop at, and there's the like big long.
Oh,
it's like
yeah,
that.
true.
But instead, we'd have just one restaurant or maybe two, and it would be in a long format where you'd sit at like a bar or like
Right.
a booth.
A booth.
Coffee,
oh, yeah.
waffles, things like that, and then
Right.
you just leave and go to work or go to whatever you were doing. You know,
Right.
yeah,
And they were very close by the gas stations.
yes, always.
Always near the gas station or some kind of small shop sometimes.
Sometimes
like a dollar
strange-
store.
Yeah, kind of a. It's not really a market.
No.
I don't know what to call it really, because there's not like fruits and vegetables or food there. There's
No.
sometimes food, but it's like canned things or dried things. Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. And they also were in places for like tourism.
Oh,
So,
true.
like, sometimes there would be a touristy place like the Grand Canyon, and there wasn't a lot of originally there wasn't a lot of big city stuff or big infrastructure. So they'd have a diner, and they'd be like, "Yeah, turn right here, and you can go to Grand Canyon."
Right. Yeah. What was that called? On our highways, we have big blue signs that
Yeah.
you look for to understand, like, okay, maybe I need to get gas
Right.
on the way. And it would say, one would say attractions, and it would have the different touristy places or maybe a theme park.
Yeah.
But then there was one, was it just restaurants? Is that what it said?
Yeah, they would have like a little symbol or something, and it would be
Right.
like this this exit has restaurants, gas stations, and other things. Like it would tell you because you didn't know.
You didn't know.
And you used to have to go off and look around and then get back on the road, and it would be
Right.
a big waste of
It
time.
was a huge waste of time.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you couldn't get back on the freeway
Yeah.
very easily, or highway, so you had to find another route. But I remember all of those signs always had Waffle House,
Yeah.
Denny's,
Yeah.
or Cracker Barrel, which
Yeah,
was
right,
kind
right,
of an upscale version. So like it was fancy if you went to Cracker Barrel.
For us, Cracker Barrel was like, this is where you go for Grandma and Grandpa's 50th wedding anniversary.
Right? Yeah, no, it's true. But I feel like if you take somebody there as a tourist, they're going to look at you like,
Yeah.
what?
It's a Southern thing, a Southern American thing, I think. And a lot of nowadays it feels a little, I don't want to say the word trashy, that's not the right word.
No.
But it feels strange. Like when we were younger, it felt more normal, but
It was
now
kind of
feels-
magical.
it felt really magical and
Right?
interesting. They had little games you could play as a kid, which was really unique.
And
for us.
just stuff everywhere.
Yeah, it
Random.
was like country music stuff everywhere. Lots of things were made out of wood. There was lots of decorations.
You could buy things there.
Yeah,
It was
they
a store inside of a restaurant.
In Oregon Trail, what's that called? When there's like a store on the.
I'm sorry, you said Oregon Trail, and all I can think of is dysentery.
Yeah. Oh no. but like a.
I don't remember.
I almost had it.
It's like ye old shop.
There's an
I don't
old
know.
shop name, and it feels like that trade post.
Oh,
It's like
yes.
a trading post
Yes,
and
yes.
a restaurant attached together. That's
True.
what it feels like.
It was, but when I look at it now, I'm like, it's just someone's yard sale
Yeah.
in a building.
Yeah, like you can literally buy soap on your way out, like lye soap on your way out of eating chicken fingers. It's
Yeah,
strange.
or a rocking horse.
Yeah, or rocking
Just
horses.
buy a rocking horse on the way
Literally
out.
buy a rocking horse.
Buy this wooden toy from 1995.
Yeah, it's
What?
Really strange.
Yeah, it is weird. Actually, maybe I would take someone there.
Yeah, I think it's a good experience.
It would be.
It's like going to the Rainforest Cafe in America.
Oh.
It's an experience. It's not for the food or anything else.
No.
It's just for the experience.
It is the elephant that goes off every hour.
Literally every hour. But yeah, so our first experience, to wrap it up, is that our first experience with coffee was our grandparents drink it a lot.
Yes.
And we associated it not with cafes,
No.
but with diners.
Yes.
Diners are kind of miniature restaurants that were more around driving, like
Yes.
truck stops and gas
Travel.
stations. Travel.
The airport. I didn't think
The
about
airport
that.
too,
The
yeah.
airport, yeah.
And apart from that, we had experience with coffee with military and nursing.
Yes.
Because we were both around military when we were younger as well. But so the idea of being in a cafe that's fancy now, if we told our younger selves, we would be surprised. Like a place where you only drink coffee? That's
True.
weird.
True. Yeah.
And soda shops. I forgot about that.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Where you just get cola or like ice cream and stuff. That's a similar thing too. But anyway, before we go off on another tangent about soda shops, how did you enjoy this talk about coffee? This kind of thing is really fun, and
Yeah.
if this helps you guys learn, or not really learn, but listen to English in a natural way, please let us know in the comments. We love to hear it. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're curious about what's going on around the world, we have digestible news as well as push yourself advanced news you can listen to as well. And if you're on the more beginner level and you want to try to engage with this content, we also have news made simple that I make once every week. Please, if you really like this content, let us know, because it takes a bit more to get it ready and everything.
Right.
And we have to make sure our schedules are both okay. So let us know in the comments, and we'll talk to you next time. I hope you had a great time. Did you have a good
Yes.
time?
Yeah, it was fun.
It's really fun. All right, we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
See you.